Yay, we've made it to our final presentation. This is a presentation of what I've really learned in Dr. Kissel's class. Oh, yeah. If I can get this to work. There we go. So, one of the first artifacts I selected is one of the very first days Dr. Kissel told us to write into the day. Well, I do not like writing very much, so instead I made a to-do list and then I drew some scribbles. Um, Honestly, this is probably what the inside of my brain looks like. And I just felt really overwhelmed at this time because it was the beginning of the school year. Um, and I was really nervous after I started this daybook entry because I didn't know how this class was going to go after that. So the next artifact I chose was in my daybook, he told us to write about where we grew up. And this is kind of where it started to stir up some emotions. Um, I was super fortunate where I was growing up, and I had a great neighborhood and a lot of really good friends. But then I sat there and I thought about how unlucky some of my kids are, and just it made me super emotional. And this is where the writing kind of started to sink in. This one was one of my favorite artifacts because we got to draw where we grew up. And it has my old neighborhood on Jerry Lane. Um, and it has like the Circle K. And it was just really fun to remember these things. Um, one of the stories that I remember is with we had a neighbor who had a pond in his backyard, and I had just bought these new white, beautiful shorts, and I was so excited about them. And my brother got so mad at me and pushed me into Neil's pond, and my white shorts were completely ruined. But it was just so funny to think back on these kinds of situations. So one day I had a professional development called Reading Foundations, and it wasn't the most interesting professional development. So all of a sudden, I just was hit with a um, kind of an idea for my multi-genre project. So I wrote a poem describing my relationship between my best friend and I didn't have my daybook, so it's like written in my agenda, and it's still there. And I just think it's really funny that inspiration comes at the most random times. Um, and so I said, hashtag, I guess PD is good for something. But actually, it was it was really great because it was one of my favorite pieces for the multi-genre project. Okay, and then this is the last artifact I chose. Um, Dr. Kissel had us write about our best memory and our worst memory writing. Um, and I just picked it because it's funny because I don't hate writing as much anymore, but it's still definitely not my favorite. Um, my handwriting is still atrocious, but it's nice that I can express writing in different ways, like doing a picture essay and doing a poem or typing. But like growing up, it was mostly just handwriting, so that was a little issue I had. Um, and it's just funny that this is probably one of my best memories, this writing class now, and so I can change it to make that one of my best memories.